Hi, welcome to the Certified Crybabies podcast. I am Dorsey, 21 years old. My pronouns are she, her, and I like to play video games.
And I'm Sarah. I'm also 21. I am a bartender and in college, and my pronouns are she, her. And yeah, I first wanted to start off by saying that this podcast is going to be like an 18 and up only, just like a blanket content warning. This is like a sex positive, pro women, pro LGBT vibe.
Yeah, exactly. This is going to be 18 and up. We're going to be talking about serious things and mature subjects. So please be sure to be of age when you listen to this podcast.
Well, welcome. Now that we've got that out of the way, the first thing that Dorsey and I wanted to talk about is the digital princess user on TikTok. So I don't know if you guys have heard of her or have been keeping up with her. She is like an alternative vibe sex worker on TikTok. She does. Oh, I don't know what all I can say and what I can't say, like if YouTube censors. But she's on OnlyFriends, and that's kind of where she got her fame from, is from TikTok and from that as well. Well, she had previously had a history with the law about her original username was Prxncess, and Nintendo sued her for, practicing her content, we'll say, under the Pokey name, because, Pokey like Pokemon. So that was her first scandal, but it wasn't that big of a scandal because people were kind of on her side. Well, a few months ago, I think in late August, she was arrested in her home city. Well, I don't think she was born there, but in her home in Florida. And the reason being that her neighbors found her toddler wandering around outside crying. And when they went to go investigate, they found that she was not home. Her toddler was home, but she was not. And so, of course, they called the police because, there's just a child wandering around. And when they are finally able to get a hold of Digital Princess, she comes home in, a dress and makeup and all this stuff. And she was like, "I'm so sorry. I just ran to the 7-Eleven to get some laundry detergent." And the police saw that she was all, dressed up. And she was like, they were like, "Really? The 7-Eleven? Can you tell us which one so that we can go, check out your story and check the cameras, make sure that is truly where you were?" And then she like stuttered and she was like, okay, so I wasn't at the 7-Eleven. Turns out she was at, I don't know if this has been confirmed, but she was like at a partner's house doing like a collaboration. And yeah, so that was in late August. And recently this story has come back up because it just came out that she has had all the charges against her dropped, which is really surprising considering the evidence that was in the police report, and that she lied to police, and that was also in the police report. And I feel like typically law enforcement don't really go easy on sex workers.
Yeah, so wait, did she get her child back, or is her child with social services?
I think her child spent one night with social services, but like when she posted bond out of jail, she got her child back.
Oh, that's not great.
Right.
So she She got
Oh,
away with lying.
and another thing I forgot to mention is that she does have a pool, like an unfenced pool. So that toddler, was very much in danger because toddlers, they don't swim. They sink, you know?
Yeah. My God. Yeah, this story is much worse than I thought. Okay.
Well, after all the charges against her were dropped, she made a video on TikTok of her like saying F the haters or whatever. And then she said, I'm gonna release my full statement on OnlyFans or OnlyFriends, my bad. So you have to subscribe to my OnlyFriends if you want to see my statement. So now she's profiting off of this, getting more subscriptions so that, people can see if her child is okay.
Well, isn't she lovely?
Right.
That's great. Wow. So, okay, it sounds like she doesn't care about her kid like
Right.
at all.
It's so concerning. But also, this has opened up a conversation on the internet for, you know, people, they either do or they don't support that line of work. And people have opinions about whether or not it's okay for people who do those kinds of work to have children. And, how do you keep that life separate from your children type of thing. And so that's now like a popular conversation of the internet.
Well, my opinion is not anyone's business unless you're like a harmful person. It's nobody's business if you have like a certain job, if you should
Right.
have a child or not. Because I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of sex workers who have children. Oops. I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of CWs who have children, and they could easily keep their separate from what they do, and their children are fine. I think this just comes down to the type of person that some parents can be, not the type of job that you have. Because you can be
Right.
a big lawyer and still be a terrible, neglectful parent.
Right.
Being an SW doesn't mean, oh, just because you have a job that someone doesn't agree with, they shouldn't have a kid or they don't have a right to have a kid. That makes no sense.
Right. I agree. I think that as long as you're able to keep that separation, which a lot of parents in other fields do, therapists keep their life separate from their children and stuff. And so as long as you're able to have that separation, then, you know, your personal life and your professional life don't really have anything to do with each other.
Yeah, and there's a ton of SWs on TikTok that are very vocal about what it is like, and they give advice to people who are interested in pursuing that, and how they want their life to be, and how to deal with like family members and children, all that. There's a bunch of resources
Yeah.
for advice. So I think it's wrong. Oh, this is just a black and white type thing. If you're doing this, then you cannot have children, even though some people, like a lot of people, make it work. And
Right.
ultimately, to a lot of people, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
But I think this woman should not have her child
Oh yeah.
at all.
Oh yeah.
Um, but it also kind of sucks because the foster care system is not that great either. So it's like
Right.
it's a really hard situation because it's like, oh, this child is in danger with being with their parent, but also the foster system in the US isn't that great.
I
So
think in one of the articles I was reading, it said that the child did have like grandparents who was active in his life. So hopefully if hopefully that child does get taken from the parents, but hopefully they're still able to remain like with the grandparents and stuff. And maybe if Digital Princess got, you know, like went to some classes and, was able to prove herself, and later in life she could come back into the child's life.
yeah, I think that sounds like a good idea because it's immediate family. So I think that would be best, but I guess ultimately there's not much you can do, which
Right.
is surprising that the police tend to be like pretty mean. So I'm kind of surprised that they just let this pass on, especially to SW. So I'm kind of surprised that she just got off with this, but
Right. And especially
I guess.
I feel like in Florida is one of those more conservative leaning places, so I feel like their judicial system, you would think that they would have been harder on her for that reason. So it's surprising to see that they weren't.
Oh yeah, because people love to say that they're protecting children, and then they do the exact opposite, like in this case.
Right.
But I still think she has a right to her child. I just don't think she is the best parent, because the best course of action would have been to get a babysitter. The problem isn't her job, it's what she chooses to do about taking care of her child.
Right. Exactly. And it would have been that easy to just call a babysitter. I think that was another reason why people were mad at her, because they were like, you have the money, you have the financial capability to hire a babysitter. You just didn't. Like that,
Yeah,
because she's pretty famous. It's she has a pretty big, like, she's got like two cars, and like one of them she just got custom wrapped and stuff, and like people are saying like, oh, you spend all this money on your cars, but you couldn't spend $25 for a babysitter for the night. I don't know.
yeah, that's
I don't know if you've
incredibly
seen
odd,
it. Yeah.
especially since if I don't know how long a collaboration would take, but it's the job hours for being an SW are a lot more flexible. So it's just kind of like it's weird.
Exactly.
The only explanation is that she just doesn't care at all.
Right. I do think she's like not really new to it, but on the newer side. I could be wrong about that, but I am pretty sure that is what I heard, is that she's on the newer side. So she might just kind of see it as like this, you know, money
This
you want to,
something
do.
that's easy, maybe.
Yeah, something like that. Or, something like a specific lifestyle has to come with it, like a party lifestyle.
Yeah, but I guess you would just expect her to think like, "Oh, I'm a parent. I can't do the normal lifestyle that everyone else can."
Right, right.
So like I think that's where she did pretty wrong.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And I saw a few people on TikTok like dress up as her for Halloween. I was like, wow, like that is so mean. That is so bad. But it was kind of funny.
Oh god. I can't imagine. Oh lord. I'm not on that side of TikTok though, sadly. I would have loved to see that. Cause like what do you say? Like if you're going up to people like, oh I'm this bad person. That's what I'm doing right now. Like
Exactly. Like, like what was the conversation at that party like when you were explaining your costume?
exactly. Like I mean, I guess if you're gonna dress up as someone like that bad, I guess you're just okay. You're confident enough to do it, so I guess you're fine with like
Exactly.
explaining it to others. I guess that's okay. I can't knock it down. You do you, I guess. Except for leaving your children alone. Don't do that.
Right.
Obviously.
Right. Well, I don't really have a natural segue, but I know another topic we wanted to talk about was the No Nut November trend. That, well, I don't really know if it's a trend. It's been around for a few years. I can't quite remember how far back, but
Yeah.
and
It,
how we
it
feel about it and how
I
you want two
I
women's opinions on No Nut November.
I I feel like I feel like it ain't my thing. Personally.
I want to look into how it started. I think didn't it start for like men's prostate cancer or something?
Yeah, I think so. I think it had a pretty innocent beginning, but like how things on the internet go, they tend to snowball into something else.
Oh, there's a Wikipedia page.
Oh, I'd love to hear about that.
Okay. Um so apparently the first Urban Dictionary entry for No Nut November was in 2011. So it is really old. It's like 10 years old now. That's crazy.
Oh geez, I was way too young back then. Okay. Continue.
And then in 2017, it picked up a lot more momentum and popularity on social media. And there's a Reddit community called No Nut November. And it now has over 100,000 people in it who participate. Oh my god. Okay.
Is it still for like a cause, or is this just something they are doing because they're bored?
Okay, so it says. Okay, they just said that some participants claim that abstaining from that has health benefits. So apparently, I don't think it is for prostate cancer. Maybe that was No Shave November. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I think, abstaining from doing all that can be pretty beneficial, I guess. I guess I could see that, yeah.
I wonder if there's science to back it up, though. I don't know. But that's crazy that 100,000 people on Reddit have all collectively come together and just decided to not do that for a month. That's
I
crazy.
mean, if it makes them feel better, more power to them.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. It's just when it gets on Twitter that it's kind of like the memes are just all like
And the
funny
memes just
and
snowball.
weird.
I don't know if you ever had this experience, but apparently I've seen people doing it on TikTok, so I know the kids are still doing it, but we did it like back when I was in high school, where all like the boys, quote unquote, would get in a group chat together on Snapchat. And this was in like 2016, 2017. And they would name the group chat No Nut November. And whenever you lost the challenge, you had to leave the group chat. And so the goal was to like stay in the group chat until December.
That's a good way of keeping track of everything, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I didn't have a lot of guy friends that participated in any of that. So I honestly don't know if that went on in
That's
my high school.
understandable. You hung out with the normal people.
Yeah, I guess I did. White people who didn't really do. I knew about it, but I didn't know it was that serious. I guess.
Right.
All I know is I'm not doing it. I have no reason to.
I have also never really seen like do they expect women to participate in that too? Or does it or does the nut only apply?
Honestly, I've only ever seen memes towards men, but I think it's because it's easier for men to get
right.
their nut off than it is for women. So,
So
I
it's
think
hard.
I've only ever seen it for men.
Interesting. Have you ever been with a person who wanted to participate?
No. No. I've honestly never had anyone outside of the internet mention it to me. I've never had someone say it to my face like, "Oh, I'm participating in No Nut November."
Really?
That's never happened to me before. I've only seen someone like joke about it, when we were texting, but no one has ever said it straight to my face, like, "Oh, I'm participating in No Nut November."
Wow, for some reason it was like a huge thing at my high school. Like every guy wanted to participate. And I feel like some of the teachers even knew about it too. They just couldn't like say anything.
I think because sadly at my high school, I think people were just not in they wanted the nut. I'm gonna say that. They
Yeah,
wanted to get their nut on. So I don't think anyone in my high school wanted to do it.
they just ignored the whole like national holiday of No Nut November.
Yeah, they just joked about it. They didn't want to actually do it. I don't think I knew anyone who wanted to. Are you gonna be participating?
Me personally, that's a hard no.
I feel that. I feel that. I
But
don't
I
see the point in
also
me doing it.
I feel like I see a lot more people talking about it this year for some reason. Unfortunately. Or fortunately, I don't know. We'll see.
I guess maybe because during the pandemic, people who were couples, I think there were a lot of pandemic babies. So I think no one cared during the pandemic. But like
Oh
since
yeah.
we're somewhat out of it and we kind of see other people, I think they're like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
we're
and
back
like
on it.
an internet culture blew up so much in the past year.
Yeah, because I honestly don't remember hearing the meme as much last year, but I do remember the year beforehand, and I'm hearing it now. So yeah, I think people just did not care last year.
Oh yeah. They were too like everything was like too serious this time last year. And like yeah, for good reason. But I feel like I don't know, there weren't a lot of like the craziness that we have now. Like it was a little bit more dull.
Yeah, everyone's just inside chilling. The only like the main memes were like Zoom memes, and when you kind of look back on them, those are kind of
Yeah,
boring.
yeah, those
They're
are
not
just so
as
lame now.
yeah, those are not as kind of like out there as No Nut November. Things are pretty chill.
I wonder how many people like are looking back at their like uh Zoom University or like virtual senior like type t-shirts and being like, wow, what how lame is it that I bought something to remember this?
It could be a funny memory for them, but so I'm gonna hope that it's funny for them. But
Oh
yeah,
yeah, that's true.
it's a little lame now, especially since I didn't use Zoom during the pandemic, so I didn't really know what anyone was talking about.
Yeah, I didn't really use Zoom that much either. Most of my classwork was just like I don't know, through email or through like, messaging like that. Like we didn't normally Zoom anyway.
Yeah, my classwork was just mainly on Blackboard, and even during the whole pandemic, for some reason, I actually switched teachers. So I didn't even get to meet the new teacher at all. So they would just give work, and that was it. I never used Zoom ever.
Yeah, my school had a similar system. It wasn't Blackboard. I think it was called something different. But that was it. Like the teachers would just post. Sometimes we'd have like a discussion board, but that even that was rare. So there was no really opportunity to interact with people that I feel like the Zoom people they did get.
Yeah, I guess yeah, with everyone being inside, I guess the topic to bring it back to what we were talking about at first, the topic of like SW, like
Oh
that
yeah.
kind of blew up a lot more as well during the pandemic because people were mainly at home and people were doing it behind screens, which is
Yeah.
much better.
Yeah, it's much safer.
Yeah, you can collaborate with people that you trust and all that. I feel like it's much better doing SW now than it definitely was before, like for our parents,
Oh
which is
yeah.
good.
Oh yeah. So if nothing else has improved, at least that has.
Yeah, because now the people have conversations about it. People are much more open to it, and so like at least that has made things better.
Yeah, overall full circle. Nice.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Well, do you have anything else to say before we end it off?
No, no, I don't. I had fun though.
Yeah, I had fun too. Um, oh, I think we didn't mention it before, but because Dorsey and I are so busy, we're both, in college and working and whatnot. Our schedule is going to be twice a month, so basically every 2 weeks is what you're going to be looking at.
Yep. Hmm.
And yeah, you can find both of us in the Almighty Discord or on Twitter. And if you have any suggestions, we're open to hearing them for next week's episode.
Oh
But other than that,
yeah. I'd love to take suggestions. That sounds fun.
yeah. So, other than that, I hope y'all have a great 2 weeks and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.